Well, the final day of 2024, from wildfire outbreaks to tornadoes to floods and hurricanes, severe storms and derechos and bow echoes galore. I'm glad this year is ending, but what does 2025 have in store? Well, we're going to tell you in this very rhythmic edition of the Texas Weather Roundup. Oh, it is the 31st of December 2024. I'm Texas Storm Chasers Buddy in Chief David Reimer. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is the final day of the year, which means no more tornadoes for the rest of the year. Will that hold true this weekend? Hopefully, but there could be a little bit of an issue. We're going to talk about it. But before we get into that, let's just go ahead and say don't freak out at this point. There's a lot we're going to have to talk about. Storm potential on Sunday, cold air next week, maybe some snow. Whoopie-doo, it's that time of year where Baldy-in-Chief gets to say, no sleep for you. I really am rhythmic this morning, aren't I? Let's get into the high-res rapid refresh model for today, tonight, into New Year's Day, Wednesday. If you're expecting rain and storms to end the year, well, the good news is nothing for you, oh dear. As we get into Wednesday morning and afternoon, a few showers perhaps down in deep South Texas in the Rio Grande Valley for you. Otherwise, it's a colder day because we've had a cold front arrive. Yay. No more 90s, at least for most, but on the bright side, it won't be 10 degrees either. Let's take a look at the fire weather outlook for the next few days. Yesterday, we had very high to extreme fire danger across the western half of the state. Today, things have calmed themselves down a wee bit. Still expecting high to locally very high fire danger across portions of the Permian Basin, the Big Bend, the Edwards Plateau, the Hill Country, South Central Texas, the Edwards Plateau, the Rio Grande Plains, down into the coastal bend. Oh yes, we have regions galore. We've made a map for you to adore. Wednesday and Thursday, the fire danger lower, but still things be dry, so don't have a burnover. If those of you with firefighting experience know, my apologies, but ho ho ho. Clearly the rhymes need to stop. Please don't set a field on fire with fireworks tonight. Let's look at the long-range American Weather Model, the Global Forecast System. This is going to take us through parts of next week, and this isn't even the correct one. You know, we did this yesterday. I swear I updated this. This thing's just being evil. So this computer's getting itself wiped later today. It's going to get a nice new hard drive, some more RAM, and all sorts of fun things that mean I hopefully won't have to hit it with a mallet. As we go into Thursday and Friday, we'll see some moisture return. Increasing moisture along the Texas Gulf Coast could result in some morning fog, maybe a couple of light showers. Overall rain totals not expected to be more than a few hundredths of an inch. Friday looking pretty nice across the state. You can see northeast winds to east winds, eastern half of the state, western half of the state, southeast winds return. Start seeing some increasing cloud cover on Saturday ahead of our next upper-level storm system. Still plenty of questions with this one on how it's going to play out, but we may start seeing scattered showers by Saturday evening into Sunday morning across the eastern two-thirds of Texas. Now, yes, you may notice there are spooky colors galore. This evening's GFS indicated a bit of snow in the Panhandle and a winter mix dangerously close to portions of the Red River. Let me be abundantly clear and say we have no skill at this range in forecasting winter precipitation with modest or marginal surface temperature profiles, so models, especially this one, are still all over the place. For what it's worth, the European's warmer. It has the surface low farther north, which would actually result in a severe weather threat Sunday across the eastern third of the state and parts of southeast Texas. We'll see. At this point, nothing's written in stone, but, I mean, given the last week, we might have to deal with a few severe storms Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. Well, maybe Sunday morning through Sunday evening, eastern third of Texas, southeast Texas. At this point, the risk is uncertain and marginal. We'll keep an eye on it. After Sunday, well, guess what? It's going to get cold. It's going to stay pretty cold for a while. Pretty cold being the not specific term, and we're going to talk about that in just a second. But as you can see, storms moving out. This is slower model guidance for what it's worth. That has storms moving out by Monday morning. The European weather model is a bit more fast and would have it out Sunday evening, leading to a less active Monday and Tuesday. but colder. All right, let's take a look at forecast rain totals the next 5 days. This will take us through 6 p.m. Saturday, and guess what? You can see maybe a tenth of an inch along the lower Rio Grande Valley / lower Texas Gulf Coast. Otherwise, nothing above a tenth of an inch through 6 p.m. Saturday. That'll change as we get into Sunday across the eastern third of Texas and portions of the Texas Gulf Coast. So check back tomorrow. All right, temperatures. We're going to actually do a little bit of adjusting here because I want to take a look at the apparent temperature, the wind chill. This is going to be at midnight tonight, New Year's. Wind chills down to the teens, the Panhandle 20s, West Texas down into parts of Northwest Texas, wind chills 30s, Permian Basin, Concho Valley, Big Country, Northwest Texas, Texoma, the Arklatex, Northeast Texas, East Texas, North Texas, down to Central Texas with 40s across Southeast Texas, the Golden Triangle, the Coastal Plains, the Brazos Valley, South Central Texas, the Edwards Plateau, and the borderland of far West Texas. And then those of you down the Rio Grande Valley, it's still going to feel like 70 degrees at midnight tonight. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. You're going to start out warm. Rest of the state, not so much. That being said, yes, it will be chilly, especially up in the Panhandle, West Texas, but hey, at least it's not single digits. Be sure to take some extra layers with you so you can adjust as needed. All right, now, we talked about that. Let's take a look at today's high temperature forecast. I guess I got ahead of myself, but I don't really care. Today's highs, 40s Panhandle, 50s West Texas, down to the Permian Basin, Northwest Texas, North Texas, Texoma, Northeast Texas, and the Arklatex. Considering it was in the 80s in DFW, North Texas, almost 90 down in Waco. Guess what? About a 20 to 30 degree temperature drop for highs today compared to yesterday. Say hi to the cold front. Even with these cooler temperatures, things are still pretty seasonal for the final day of 2024. Southern half of the state where the cold front is going to arrive this afternoon. We'll get up into the 60s, 70s, maybe even some 80s down in deep South Texas. But again, those of you along I-10, temperatures may start falling by early this afternoon as the cold front and north winds arrive. Tomorrow, guess what? We're looking at 40s to start off 2025. You want to know how many times I'm going to call it 2024? Ask me in about a month and we'll see. Panhandle, West Texas, looking at highs in the 40s, 50 Northwest Texas, the Permian Basin, down into parts of the Trans-Pecos, North Texas, Texoma, the Big Country, into Central Texas, Northern Brazos Valley, Arklatex, Northeast Texas, East Texas, 60s, Borderland, Southern Big Bend, down into the Hill Country, Central Texas, South Central Texas, the Coastal Plains, Southeast Texas, Rio Grande Plains, and then we're still in the low to mid-70s in the Rio Grande Valley. So if you want spring, go south. Temperatures start to recover a bit on Thursday. We're back in the 60s, western half of the state outside the Panhandle, where temperatures are still warmer, back up into the 50s. Coolest conditions, northeastern half of the state, temperatures making into the 50s Thursday afternoon. Friday, 60s, southern two-thirds of the state, 50s, northern two-thirds of the state, probably some 70s down south as well. Saturday, did I say Friday or Saturday? Well, the one before this was Friday. This is Saturday. We're going to see highs, 50s, Panhandle, Texoma, North Texas, Northeast Texas, East Texas, 60s, 70s, southwestern two-thirds of the state. And then if you look to the north, you can see the beginning of our next storm system beginning to arrive. So that takes us into a rather interesting period as we get into the second half of the first week of January and the second week of January. Guess what? It wouldn't be winter if it didn't get cold. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, it does look like it's going to get cold. How cold? Well, that's a good question. Now, at this point, I can say with a decent amount of confidence, based on the current weather model data, it does not look like we're going to be dealing with Ice-Mageddon in terms of temperatures dropping below zero across most of the state, repeating 2011 or 2021. Folks to the east of Texas, where the worst of the cold air looks to go, they may not have a particularly enjoyable time as we get into next week and the second week of January. But for us, I can alleviate some of your concerns. I realize, given the events of 2021, still fresh in many folks' minds, we're not doing that. No. That being said, yes, it's going to feel like winter for a while, which means, yes, you're going to want to find your winter coats and that stuff. Now, because it's going to be cold for a little while, that brings up an interesting possibility. What happens if we get a storm system or two while the cold air is in place? There is some indications that could happen, and that means the possibility of winter precipitation is not zero. That also being said, guess what? The skill set forecasting snow in Texas outside of 24 hours is typically not high. The forecasting elements talking 7 to 10 days away, forget about it, seriously. But yes, we're going to have to watch it. Some of us may get some snow. But at least there won't be tornadoes with this cold pattern because it'd be rather difficult for that to happen. Sunday? Well, let's hope not, because I really don't want to have to fly across the country again. So, guess what? Enjoy the next couple of days of not as active weather. And enjoy the fact that even though it's going to be cooler, it's still warmer than it's going to be as we get into the first and second week of January, the way it looks. So, guess what? I hope you enjoyed Caffeinated Baldy and Chief for this final day of 2024. You can always get your local weather forecast and interactive weather radar, Texas weather roundups, and more in the free Texas Storm Chasers mobile app. Just search for Texas Storm Chasers where you download apps for your device. And as always, find us here on YouTube. Just search for the Texas Weather Center. Y'all have a great New Year's Eve. Have a good evening. Please don't blow yourselves up. We'll talk to you tomorrow to start off 2025. Knock on wood. Have a good day. God bless.